Welcome,
Hello.
everyone. Sarah, I had a little bit of a trivia idea. I'm curious today if we
Okay.
get more different countries
Mm.
represented on this stream or more different states.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Because I have noticed like you've been getting a little bit of an international audience with these. And so I think that is a
If you're
very
if
good
you're
question.
if you're comfortable sharing what
Yes.
country you're in right now, put it in the comments. And if you're comfortable sharing what state you're in, put it in the comments and we can just find out exactly where all y'all are tuning in from. We'll start shortly, but just a quick poll. I would love to see that. Okay, yeah, you're in South Dakota. Okay,
First in.
all right. Washington State.
Mexico. Yep. That's you.
That's where
But
I am.
Washington State, I love it. Vermont. Fantastic. All right. So
Two
far we've
countries, three states. Two
as I
countries,
say,
three
the
states.
states. I don't know.
All right.
It's also probably like what is it? Well, I guess it would only be like 6 p.m. in the UK right now. So like that's not like too much to ask. I was
Dinner
gonna say it might
time.
be 3 a.m. somewhere, but
Yes. Middle of the night flash fiction. All right. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad
Hello.
you're here. This is, I want to say, fifth consecutive Flash Fiction Fridays. On these Friday workshops, the goal is to finish a draft of a Flash Fiction piece. We're going to talk about a submission opportunity. There's a place called Orion's Belt that we've identified as having an open call right now. It's at the end of August is the deadline. We're going to do a quick little get inspired around sci-fi. I think I want to mention at least
Yes.
the story of the week. There's a story club on this channel. There's Discord notes in the vid description. We're reading one short story a week to help learn how to do this. And this week we read The Star by H.G. Wells. So we can just briefly touch on that. And then we're going to dig in. Unlike the prior ones, we're not going to do kind of like a read thing. However, I am going to share a link to Orion's Belt so that you can spend some time reading the first story.
Fantastic.
We've got a Pomodoro structure, 2 or 3 sessions today, depending. I know for one, I'm going to spend my first session reading some Orion's Belt stories, familiarize myself with the publication. Other folks might want to just jump into the story after we share the Jimmy in the
Jimmy.
This is commitment.
Oh,
When in doubt, write on the dash.
I love this.
Sam Shepard famously, the playwright Sam Shepard famously wrote entire plays while driving across country. We do not recommend this, but he was like, I think best on the road. Jimmy, you might be in that camp. Anyway,
That's
that's
amazing.
the plan. That's the plan here. Quick introductions. My name is Asa Merritt. I'm a horror writer, new horror writer coming from screenwriting. And now I'm writing fiction. I wrote an Audible original starring Stephanie Hsu called Six Sermons. Sarah and I have been working together. Sarah, tell us who you are. Tell us more.
Yeah, I'm Sarah Ray Werner. I am also a writer of a slightly different stripe. You get it? Because we're both wearing stripes today. I had to. I couldn't not.
Brutal.
I'm sorry.
Brutal, Sarah. Brutal.
But I am a, podcast writer. I've written a novel. I've written briefly for TV. I have a audio drama in the sci-fi realm called Girl in Space. It's a fictional show set in space. So I'm really excited about today's sci-fi prompt. Let's see. I also produce my partner Tim's fantasy audio drama Omen, and I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, great. So I'm going to throw the prompt up. So this particular prompt was inspired by this week's reading, as I said. Okay. So obviously, folks, actually stand by.
Okay.
Let's introduce the submission opportunity. So Orion's Belt, this is a pro market sci-fi outlet. Pro market means they pay at least 8 cents a word, which means this is an amazing opportunity. I'm going to read this out loud so that everyone can hear it. The basics of submission. Stories should be submitted to orionsbelt.submissions@gmail.com. All stories must be under 1,200 words. Normally, we've had a 1,000-word limit, a little bit more to work with here. All stories over 1,200 words will be rejected immediately. All stories must contain significant speculative elements. We'll define that briefly shortly. This does not mean all sci-fi stories must have lasers and rockets. It just means a non-speculative story doesn't become speculative if you include a single line clarifying the story takes place on Mars. So by and large here, sky universe is the limit. We had a definition emerge from the introduction to this book of science fiction, which is anything that sort of includes the future. So that could be a useful tool for you in terms of thinking about the breadth of this genre and what you're going to write today. Speculative, this is just not of this world, I believe would be one definition that we could work with, Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or how things could, should, and hopefully won't be, and or hopefully won't be.
And or hopefully won't be, which brings us to the Star, the story we read this week. Again, there's an amazing story club we've got going. Thank you, everyone who came to the first session. Lore, Narrative Vault, I know you were there. Rune, Jimmy, we missed you. Anyway, this book club is great. We started on Wednesday, and this story that we read on Wednesday, The Star, is about a star that comes close to the Earth, obliterating almost everyone there. We learned from the introduction to this story that this story, The Star, is actually credited as the beginning of the impact subgenre. We know these movies, Day After Tomorrow, Impact. I think there's one called Impact. This kind of story, an object falling from the sky onto Earth or other planets or heavenly bodies colliding. One possible challenge for you, and I think this is going to be the one I take on myself, Sarah, so I'm stoked, is can you write a flash impact story? Yes. So anyway, Sarah, I'm going to pitch it to you a little bit. If you can talk about these other prompts or another like juicy detail from The Star that might help us today.
Gosh, yeah. And I'm curious, I did not go back and count because I would have to physically count all of the words in the story. I'm going to assume that The Star was not under 1,200 words.
But I doubt it was more than like 1,500 or it's definitely, I would say sub 2,000.
It's very brief in any case.
Yes.
So I think that's really, really brilliant. So we have some prompts here, and so a worker at your least favorite tech company discovers she's actually a cyborg. And then a talking beetle holds the secret to humankind's survival. And we also have some images that Asa has found. Thank you, Asa. That you can kind of use if you're more visually prompted as a writer. I know a lot of writers really like to, I don't know. And Asa, we've talked about this before with you. You come from the visual writing world, the screenwriting world. And so there are some visual images here too for you to, I don't want to say sink your teeth into because that's gross, but to inspire you as you write.
Definitely. And these prompts, these just brainstorms. A talking beetle holds the secrets to humankind's survival. If executed correctly, could be a Nebula Award winner. If executed incorrectly, slush pile, immediate delete. So these are just brainstorms, just to get the juices flowing.
Well, and there is a very famous speculative fiction story about a talking beetle that holds the secret to humankind's survival.
Okay, so
Kafka's Metamorphosis.
I mean, I don't know if Joseph K. really gives us that, but I'll go there with you. I go there. I don't know if he gives us the secrets to humankind's survival or the destruction of one man, but I'll buy it.
Okay,
Right.
I like it. I was
true.
reaching a little bit, but I like that you're on board.
I'm always on board. Shoot for the stars, as it were, here. We're going to rock Pomodoro today. I'm going to put this up. Pomodoro, if you're unfamiliar, is just sort of a productivity or work model where you work for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. We'll repeat this 2 or 3 times today. Right now in the comments, I'm going to put the link to Orion's Belt archives where some of those stories are published. And as I said, I'm going to start this first session by doing a little reading from this. Here's the link. And to sort of see the sort of taste of this publication, but as much as anything, just get some morning fuel here on this fine Friday. All right, here is, I'm trying before presenting, stand by.
Oh, you're great.
Here we go.
Yes.
Just to get crazy, we're going to start with 2455. Happy writing. Thank you, everyone. I'm so glad to see this engagement here between folks coming back. This is really lovely to see this, and I'm so excited to get to know each other here. Like I said, there's a Discord where that is all happening at a macro level. All right, let's start, and we'll check in
Sounds great.
in 25 minutes.
That sounds wonderful. Are you guys ready? I can hear you all screaming from across the world. Yes, you're so ready. Okay, let's do this.
All right, here we go.
Let's write.
Okay, everyone. Session 1 in the books. If you're jamming, if you're rolling, if you're in the flow, feel free to mute my voice and carry on. For everyone else, you need to take a break, stand up, get the blood flowing, or if you want to share, Takashi, hi, so glad you're here, where things are going, how things are going. Sarah, how's it going for you?
I was so immersed that I did not, I took off my headphones and did not hear the timer go off or notice that the 25 minutes had passed. So I'm going to take that as a good sign.
Well,
Yeah.
if you want to keep going, if you want to like put that head back down, to go for it.
Wow. I think I might just do that. I decided to just write without a prompt or anything, and it's taking me to some interesting places. So how about you?
That's fantastic. I'm excited about this start. I spent some time trying to find a good, so much of this sci-fi stuff is conceptual or conceit. What is the conceit? And I landed on something approximate. And I said to myself, you know what, you just have to start. Trust that you're going to find images. Don't overthink it. Don't come up with the perfect sci-fi idea. We still need to feel this. And that was inspired by the reading, in fact. So Takashi, good to see you again, says Narrative Vault. And we have a first sentence.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Only if you want to share it, though.
You want to share it, or you can just tease us. And I'm glad that you have a first sentence. That's great. I mean, I almost didn't get anywhere, and I finally did. But yeah, so that's great.
I know.
Rune says twinning with the striped tops. I'm happy for you.
When we first got into the chat, we did not know what the other person was wearing, and I was like, do we need to go change? And then I was like, no, let's just embrace it. We're just here for it.
Let's run with it. Takashi, my prompt is this: what would happen if an artificial angel, a droid, decides if they destroy humanity or save it? Great.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. Let's see. Yes. Any other? So I can just share.
Have the. I was gonna say we have the first sentence from Narrative Vault too.
Oh, we do. Here we go. Let's share it. Okay. The day the sky cracked open, the children born beneath it carried a mutation that turned their skin transparent and their bones to memory.
That's so poetic.
Okay. Bones to memory. We've got a lot in the mix. I love that this story could go myriad places following this. Just a quick hit for anyone who didn't get a chance to read something on Orion's Belt. This is the story that I read, and I'm going to share because I think it is a cool reference, and it definitely indicates that this particular publication is receptive to soft sci-fi, as it were. There's no spaceships, there's no lasers, as it said, there's no tech per se. This is a story that's about, it's like, it could almost fall into fantasy. There's a fish, like this little boy goes into a fish world and then grows up, and then his mom goes into this magical kind of library, a la kind of like Lion Witch wardrobe vibes. So if you need any sort of assurance that maybe what you're writing isn't sci-fi, I think it's safe to say that you're on the right path. Takashi, first sentences: Father never let me open my eyes. He said I ought to wait for humanity to become one. Father never let me open my eyes. He said I ought to wait for humanity to become one. Interesting. This is a very enticing prompt because I at least don't have a clear idea what one refers to. Love this. Asking a question, provoking, always a strong start. I'm a little bit superstitious. Normally I wouldn't share a first sentence, but like, we're jamming here.
Do it.
I'm going to share the first two. They thought that shooting it down would solve the problem, as if the meteor was just another unmanned yet lethal object like they used before the war stopped. Yes. So again, pursuing this impact idea, if you're just joining, part of the adventure today is writing a short sci-fi story. Earlier this week, we read a story, an impact story about a meteor roughly hitting the Earth. I'm taking that to heart, using that as my prompt. Can I write within the impact genre? All right. We're here to write. Let's carry on. I see more people have joined the stream. Quick hits. What we're doing here today, we're writing flash fiction for an outlet called Orion's Belt. Stand by. Let me show you this. Whoop. Oh gosh. Okay. You know what? I'm not going to share that. I'm not talented enough with StreamYard yet. Orion's Belt is the publication. They're seeking short stories, sci-fi of any kind, speculative fiction, anything that falls within the future as we're defining sci-fi, the future looking back, the present looking forward, 1,200 words or less. And what we're talking about today in context of Story Club, which is a club that Sarah and I running on YouTube, we read one short story a week from the big book of science fiction. Discord details in the description. From this story, we discovered this subgenre of impact that's inspiring me, but really we're here just to get something done on this fine Friday. So that's the context. If you're just hopping in, we're going to do another 25-minute Pomodoro session. Good luck, everyone. Sarah, anything to add there?
Yeah. If it is, I know it's Friday. If you've had a long week, I like to say this during all of my create alongs. It is not mandatory that you write a flash fiction, science fiction story or submit it to this magazine. It's just there for people who want that opportunity, and it's a very cool one. So, the other thing I wanted to say is, if it's Friday, if you're burned out, you can also take this time to take a few deep breaths and maybe doodle. Let it come to you slowly. It's perfectly acceptable if you're not like on fire right away.
Yes. And if you are,
then go for it.
Carry on. All right, here we go.
All right,
Good
I'm
luck,
ready.
everyone.
How'd that go?
I'm jamming. I started over. I started over.
I did too. Yeah.
I realized that so many successful science fiction short stories choose one element, make
Mm.
one adjustment to the rules of the universe, and then pursue it to its end and see what happens.
Mm.
And I realized that my initial draft, we had a character who could speak to dolphins. We had like the thing in space coming in. I was like, okay. Normally, I try to avoid scrapping because it's like, okay, just you're going to find it, keep going. But this one, I was like, no, I'm going to start over. And sure enough, I think that was the move because now I'm locked on a specific idea. How's it going for you?
Good. I love to hear it. I am a big fan of scrapping things. Mostly because I have a lot of bad ideas before the good ones start coming along. So I also started over a few times. Actually, I started off with what was kind of more horror, and now I'm working a little bit more into a satirical comedy type thing. So very different.
Incredible. Satire, sci-fi. That's that. I love imagining that. How's it going for everybody else out there?
Yeah.
We have 3 minutes left in this break. I'm gonna go do a few jumping jacks and get some water, and then I'm gonna keep going.
Okay.
So BRB.
And is this sprint 3 out of 3 or
Yeah, I think we can make this next one. I mean, that one I kind of have one more in me.
okay,
And
yes, I
now,
do too. I
how,
just wanted to make
how
sure.
does that feel?
That's good
That
for
feels
me.
good.
But
That feels
yeah.
good. Okay.
And
Okay.
folks,
Sweet.
while Asa is doing some jumping jacks, feel free to let us know in the comments how you're doing. Otherwise, should we keep on keeping on?
Yeah. Yeah. There's 2 minutes left in this break.
Perfect.
I'll put that back up so everyone can. Okay. Hold on. This is a fun comment. I want my story to continue to the elders and a prophecy.
Ooh.
Love that.
Elders makes me think of reading The Reach from yesterday and that sense of community and generations. So I like that.
Yes, yes, connecting the dots. That's great. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start the 25 minutes.
Perfect.
There's two if you're sort of obsessive about this kind of thing, technically there's 2 minutes left in the break, but because I have to step away, I'm gonna go ahead and start the next sesh. Okay.
Perfect.
Happy writing, everyone.
All
Here we
right,
go. Let's
everyone.
see. Is this up? This is up. All right. BRB for me. Good luck, everyone else.
Takashi, I totally see your statement here. Your character is a diabolical, omniscient child. We need more of that in life. And yes, I understand about the typos. I would move the comment off the screen, but that is not something I can do from my end of things. But all right, let's continue on. I'm excited to get down to this next leg of writing. How
Hello.
did that go for you?
I'm excited.
Are you?
Yeah, it's coming together. The river flowed where it wanted to. Found a cool place, a really kind of specific scene,
Mm.
very least a scene. As much as possible, I was turning off the like edit while writing instinct. Well,
Mm.
one that came up that I think is worth sharing, and then we've talked about this before, is that so often the story benefits when you enter the revising process by just lopping off the first few paragraphs, a bit more of a in medias res type opening, and it's like, oh, this is where the narrative drive gets going. And so it's good. I might start in this scene, we'll see. And yes, I don't know, how about you?
Yeah.
How about everyone?
Well, how much science fiction have you written before? Was this your first sci-fi story?
I think it's fair to say yes. I feel like I could make the case that some things I've written before fall into that camp, but effectively, like going into something with that mindset, this would be the first time.
That's a big deal. Congrats. That's super exciting.
Yeah, yeah. Now, so what about for you? I know
Yeah.
Takashi here
Yeah.
is excited because there's something in the mix. Something happened for Takashi here as well.
Yeah.
Want to share part of what I got if it's possible? Yes,
Let us know
drop
in the
it in.
comments. Yeah.
Drop it in. And if you run out of character limits, Takashi, you can send it to me. You can DM me. I think you're in the Discord, and we can do a little workaround if it's more than I know there's a tight character limit. If you're just hopping in, welcome everyone. This is a Flash Friday, no excuses, live writing stream. Sarah and I are doing this every Friday. We're giving folks and ourselves an opportunity to write and complete a Flash fiction story with the goal of submitting it. Today, we are doing science fiction inspired by our story club story of the week, The Star by H.G. Wells. Yes, welcome. But Sarah, what about for you? Takashi,
Yeah.
I'm standing by. I'm standing by for what you want to share. What about you? How'd it go?
Yeah, it went well. So we wrote through several sprints, and I feel like in each sprint I discarded a different version or maybe a different story altogether. But the one I ended up with, when our timer went off, I was just counting the words. I think it's only about 500, 600 words max. But I think it's done. And this is
Love
something that
that.
I haven't done before during these flash fiction sessions, and that is like finish a story. I've always had to like, oh, I only got a little bit in, I'll finish it later. And then some I have finished later and some I have yet to finish. But I think honestly, this one's done. I'm feeling like it just kind of came out, and that was surprising and good. And anytime something in writing surprises me, it's a good time. So yeah.
That's absolutely fantastic. I'm so happy to hear that. And the fact that you said it ended up being 600 words. I've been meaning to say this whole stream. I'm glad, because my ghost story that I wrote for that, we did ghost stories a few weeks ago. Takashi, I saw it, but it's not coming up. It's like blacked out. Can you copy paste the text maybe and send it to me? Try that. The ghost story that we did, mine only ended up 600 words or so. Similarly, that had a 1,000-word limit, and I was like, you know what, this is done. And I sent it and I liked it. But the point where I'm going with all this, folks, is that story was rejected off the bat. We're in the mix here with this Friday workshop, and I know it's scary to send stuff out. But I hope we get to a place where we're taking these opportunities and putting our work out there. And just so you know, the rejections are already happening. And yes, so that's all part of it.
It's a badge of honor.
It's a badge of honor.
Another box checked off on your list, another experience point gained.
Yes.
And there's sports metaphors for anything, but there's like a sports metaphor about like whatever, you miss 100% of the free throws you don't make.
Yeah, all
Something.
the shots you miss,
Yes.
every shot you don't take. Wayne
Yes.
Gretzky. Hockey.
Oh, you know the sports. You're good at
Yeah,
sports. Oh,
I'm a soft sports ball guy.
that's awesome.
Okay, we're standing by for Fernando. I'm so sorry that this isn't coming. I don't know what's going on in the Discord, Fernando, for you, but I'm see that you typing, so I'm standing by for that. How'd it go
Awesome.
for everybody else? And is there
Yeah.
anyone else who just came into the feed? If you want to tell us where you're coming in from, or sort of what kind of writer you are, what you're working on, we'd love to hear from you as well. I think that one thing that we have talked a little bit about, Sarah, that I'd love to hear a little bit more from you, to learn from you about this, is what do you think your revision process
Mm.
will be? You feel good about this. You've reached the end. What do you think your revision process is going to look like
Yeah,
as you
absolutely.
improve this draft?
Yeah. So I write everything by hand. I'm reaching over here to hold up uh, another project that I was working on this morning. So I always write the first draft by hand, and then I go through and I read it and I make scribbles and arrows and I fit as much as I can into the margins. And then once that's done, I'll rewrite it one more time and then type it out from there. So that's kind of how that looks. And while I'm writing, while I'm revising, I'm looking for flow, I'm looking for feel, I'm looking for, anything I didn't catch in that first draft.
Okay.
Um, yeah, including when I go off the rails and don't realize it. So, yeah, it's a fun process and looking forward to revising this one.
That's
How about
great.
you? What does yours look like?
Yes. So Lore Huntress has shared a message,
Oh,
and I know that Takashi. I know you're still working on it, so we'll get there. I want to share Lore's, but just to answer that question here, my first step is to type it up. Similarly like you, I write my first drafts freehand. Got my legal pads.
yes.
And so for me, the first step of kind of like, what do I have on my hands, is transcribing the story to, typing. And I think even then, just the way your fingers and the brain are working, going from that phase to that phase, it's like starting to calculate, sort of see what it is that I have. I'm definitely going to sleep on it. I come to stuff structurally. I think in this particular case, I'm going to go back to the star. So the
Ooh.
star is the story we read in our story club this week. And I'm going to particularly check out the way that Wells did that diversion to the mathematician.
Ooh,
How it
yes.
started with a certain kind of pace, it took a breath and then came back around. So, I want to see if I can rob that and be like, okay, what does it look like for this story if I take a breath? My Discord chimes are chiming.
I love it.
Okay, so, great. Takashi's is in. I'm going to read Lore Huntress's first. Okay, here we go. What good is a moment, stretched and yearning for remembrance within the scale of history? What good is a life, lost amongst the multitudes of sentience, risen and fallen to time? What good is a planet's last breath, commingled with a billion others' final rites and atonements, within the bejeweled fabric, interstice of infinite space and time? Okay,
That
this
is
is, yes.
lovely. High
Engage with
concept.
that, Sarah.
Yeah, I love the different juxtapositions, the what is the worth of something, and then putting it into perspective with other things. I really like how you're playing with that. I love the language. The language you used is deeply poetic and metaphysical, and I would have to hear it again. But I feel like that's something that I would not only enjoy reading a story, but I would enjoy like the feel of it. I would enjoy um speaking the words or hearing the words spoken. I feel like there's a lot going on there, and like in a
I
good way.
I agree. I just love just the unabashed, like I'm gonna go straight to like literally the biggest question that can possibly ask. In fact, I might ask bigger questions than you have asked ever. That's what excites me most about that. So Takashi, I'm gonna read yours. Now, Takashi, this is, crossing thresholds here. I believe you typically write in Spanish. Is that correct? To fully contextualize where we're coming from, Takashi is a really ambitious writer in our Discord who is working across languages. I think Italian was mentioned once as a third language coming up in the mix. So this is very cool. And I just want to put this out there that it's amazing that you're here, Takashi, amazing that you're writing in your second language, and amazing that you'd be brave enough to share it. Here we go. Father warned me to never open my eyes. He has kept me in slumber until humanity becomes one. Perhaps that was his reason to assemble 4 towers with laser beams pointing at each corner of the capsule where I lay dormant. You and your siblings are the key to salvation, he said before leaving. Holding the glass that separated us, he shed tears before parting ways. I lived between dreams and prayers to concentrate my will, awakening Emin's rebirth. Between the screams of a growing mob and the pounding of the bullets outside my sanctuary, I did not understand how my existence was a treat to or a threat, perhaps. I did not understand how my existence was a treat to everyone's happiness. What is wrong to be a real guardian angel? Very cool.
And it's such a short, yeah, Takashi says that's right. I'm Mexican and English is my second language. This really, to me, and I was following along in the Discord. So please do join our Discord if you're not there already. It makes it a little easier for us to communicate. But it really transported me from sort of this, I'm in the past and like now all of a sudden we're in the present and bullets are flying and I'm like physically there with you. So I think that was really a really kind of fun transition that you put in there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Takashi, this is so exciting. So glad you ran with this prompt. Yeah, I mean, it's just I sort of have the same kind of first impression as with yours, Lore Mistress, this like the breadth, the ambition of this, like the handshakes of these 2 stories inform me right away that the world that I'm entering in, the fictitious world that I'm entering in, is big and important. And I love that. I love that kind of like, there's no irony here. This is like, we're going for and I really appreciate that. I really think that's great. Does anyone else want to share? Sarah, do you want to share yours? Are you interested in that?
Yeah. Well, and you want to share yours afterward too?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I will.
Okay. So this is a no judgment zone. And I just like to remind everyone of that before I start. No, I'm kidding. But also, Katie checked and then double checked the numbers flashing beside the pile of past due paperwork, candy bar wrappers, and orange peels. She would have jumped on the radio if it hadn't died months ago.
Great. Can you read it one more time?
Yeah. Katie checked and then double checked the numbers flashing beside the pile of past due paperwork, candy bar wrappers, and orange peels. She would have jumped on the radio if it hadn't died months ago.
Yes. Yes.
I'll read you one more sentence if that's okay.
Oh yeah, let's see. Yes.
Instead of using the radio, she swore fiercely under her breath and began dismissing the mountain of pop-up warnings that had suddenly taken over the Omni screen. So
I'm very excited about this. Yes. I mean, like I at risk of just praising, but I think that's so cool that what I love about this particular sentence, and I'd love to hear from other folks also, is the juxtaposition of these highly quotidian details that define the present for so much of us, like pop-up screens. I mean, this is something we can all relate to with gestures of a future of speculative elements. The Omni screen, which I love, is not defined. It's like you're putting it in there, just like Stephen King is putting in these details in his story, The Reach.
Like Apple's apple wine. I never understood what that was, but maybe I should look it up.
I don't know what that is either.
Do you remember reading that? He mentioned it like 3 times in the story.
Oh, yes, exactly. Sarah's referencing yesterday's book club where we read a Stephen King story. And similarly to this gesture towards an undefined Omni screen in that story, The Reach by Stephen King, there was references to details that weren't fully explained. Maybe we learn about the Omni screen, maybe we don't. But for now, it is a question mark. And I think that's great. Thank you.
I'm excited to hear yours. Please do share.
Yeah, let's see. It's not exactly a clean sentence, but I think that it sort of gets at the concept, which I'm excited about. All right. For as long as the news identified what eventually became known as the marble, in astronomy terms, no one took it seriously.
Mhm.
The threat of a terrible impact from a meteor had been so related to science fiction and commercial films that no one thought such a thing possible. And the dinosaurs, well, they're not really real either. And then it goes on to introduce the person who made people take it seriously. He put this cosmic or sort of astronomical event into a sort of simpler form, and all of a sudden the world took notice. All of a sudden, people took this seriously. And the story is actually about him, though, because
Oh, good, good,
he
good.
unwittingly became this source. Everyone was waiting on bated breath for him to continue to comment on the future of the planet, because he's the one that made people believe that it was happening. So he became this like, what should we do? And it's all about the transformation thereof. So I'm excited. I think
I
it's
love
like a
it.
cool like angle to come. It's like whereas the star, H.G. Wells, it's like this is how it affected everybody. This is how it affected this person in what I think is kind of a cool and surprising way. So yeah, that's mine.
I really appreciate that too. And even thinking of it in terms of H.G. Wells as the star, I feel like in that story, the points that hit closest to home were the ones where we zoomed in on individuals, where we zoomed in on the mathematician and the widow and I'm going to say sailors and somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
the high society ladies,
Yep.
when we really zoomed in. So I really love that you're setting the stage, but then you're going to zoom in on this one character and we can sort of experience, maybe not to put words in your mouth, but I'm looking forward to that experience.
Yeah, we'll see. So so I think that's sort of all for today. If this is the first time you're getting to know Sarah and I, we're doing a lot of stuff on YouTube. We've got channels, 2 channels, subscribe, and kind of the most immediate way you can continue to keep up with us and continue to be involved as readers and writers is to start jamming on these 2 story clubs that we have going. So Wednesdays, we're working our way story by story through this collection, The Big Book of Science Fiction, edited by Anne and Jeff Vandermeer. Jeff Vandermeer of Annihilation, other classic sci-fi stories. And then the Horror Story Club, we meet on Thursdays, working our way through this collection. We're now starting our second week. Our next week will be our second week. We've already got 20 plus people in the Discord. People are really engaging. As you can see, Takashi, Narrative Vault, Lore Huntress, Rune, thank you for being here.
Yes.
Thank you for your contributions. Jimmy, I hope the parking garage stayed comfortable. Anyway, it's really exciting. There's Discord details in the video description. And for next week, we'll do another one of these as well. So next Friday, same time, if you enjoyed this, if you need support, want to hang out while we all write, we'll be here next week doing another flash fiction workshop.
Absolutely. And it allows us to sort of practice what we preach. We read, and then we write. And then we go back and we read, and then we write. And it makes up this speculative fiction circle that Asa was talking about at the beginning.
Yeah. All right, everybody. So take care. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for being here, and we'll see you soon.